What happened at this New Hampshire farm is nothing short of sinister. Michelle Sigona is back now with more of our murder mystery, House of Horrors.
Matt, Sheila LaBar had money, was very social and looking for love, but police say Sheila was also hiding a very dark side.
Sheila LaBar, a resident of Epping, New Hampshire, is suspected by authorities to have killed her live-in lover, Kenneth County, and burned his remains in a fire pit in her front yard.
Are you thinking it's a body at this point?
Yeah,
You are.
I'm thinking it's a piece of a body.
After a search of Sheila's farmhouse, they find bones they believe belong to Sheila's missing boyfriend, Kenneth County. But there's more to this macabre mystery, much more. Authorities also discover a birth certificate for another man clogging the toilet. His name is Michael DeLodge.
She had flushed down the toilet his birth certificate and some other evidence. That's how we even knew about Mike DeLodge, because there was no report about him missing. And they began to say, who is Mike DeLodge?
There are no reports of Mike DeLodge missing because no one knew he was missing. Michael is estranged from his family and staying at a homeless shelter at the time he meets Sheila.
Here's a guy's down on his luck. This woman comes along, says, you know, my husband died. I have this big farm. I need someone to help me take care of it. And they come over and they have sex and there's food on the table, and it's like, you know, why would I go back to a homeless shelter?
Now, police wonder if more bodies will be discovered on this 115-acre horse ranch, and if they have a serial killer on their hands.
No, you tend to think of Epping as a small town. What does that mean, a small town? Where everybody knows what everybody else is up to, everybody's watching everybody. So you would think that people couldn't just come to a farm like this and disappear.
Eyewitnesses start to come forward, placing Michael DeLodge at the LaBar Horse Ranch.
The most telling story is that when Michael was living here, in the middle of winter, people saw Michael stumble down this long road in the middle of snow, bleeding from the forehead. And when somebody stopped to ask him what happened, he just kept on going, just said one word. He said, Sheila.
While police wait on DNA results to come in, Sheila remains a free woman.
Where was she during that time?
She was supposed to be under watch by somebody, I don't know who, someone was supposed to be following her, and she somehow got away, and she ended up down in Massachusetts.
Sheila dyes her hair bright red, withdraws thousands in cash, and packs up her most prized possessions.
Sheila left with, of all things, her bunnies.
While on the run, DNA results from the fire pit come in. The remains belong to Kenneth County. Sheila is charged with murder. Now police just need to find her.
To know that there's a murderer that has now slipped away from us and we don't know where she is. And she's not scared to carry a weapon, she's carried guns.
Now, 30 miles away in Manchester, Sheila realizes she may need to unload her precious cargo. She stops by a pet store and asks people inside if they would watch her bunnies for a couple of days. The people agree and even invite Sheila to stay with them for the night.
And it was at that time when they were in this people's living room and playing with the rabbits, the 11 o'clock news comes on, and there's the story about a man missing in Epping.
Sheila's cover is blown. She's arrested and extradited back to New Hampshire, where she is grilled by the cops. Then, traces of DNA evidence are recovered from inside the farmhouse. It's Michael DeLodge.
His body was never recovered. It's fair to assume that she did the same thing to his body that she did to Kenneth County's body.
Now, Sheila officially faces 2 counts of murder. Then Sheila shocks the court. She admits to killing both victims. But just listen to her justification. It's a wannabe Dexter defense. Sheila claims she's killed Kenneth and Michael, claiming they were pedophiles and deserved to die. She even recorded these so-called confessions.
And there's a video actually of Mike DeLodge that she shot. We played it for the jury, where she's, trying to get him to admit that he was a pedophile and did horrible things. There were audio recordings with Kenneth County where she was trying to force him to admit that he did all kinds of horrible things.
Sheila's defense team says their client was insane at the time of the killings.
She felt like she was this avenging angel, that she is there to be a protector, a champion for victims, without realizing the irony that she is victimizing people.
After 5 weeks of testimony, she is found guilty on 2 counts of murder.
What the defense offered was just psychobabble about her mental state. It was calculated, and it was deliberate, and it was horrific.
Sheila LaBarre is now serving 2 life sentences without the possibility of parole.
In my opinion, she is a violent predator. She's a black widow who really preyed on vulnerable men. Got the torture and the violence and the abuse at her hands it's just unspeakable.
And what happened in this house of horrors in the small town of Epping won't soon be forgotten.
People started realizing that even in a small town where everything is nice and beautiful and everyone knows each other, that we can still have a horror going on in someone's home that you don't know about.
But there's one last question.
Is Sheila a serial killer?
Not yet. She needs one more victim to be a serial killer.
However, this case may not be over. Months after Sheila LaBarre is locked away, police find a set of toes near the Horse Ranch bar, and they don't belong to Kenneth County or Michael Deloge.
Do you think there are other victims out there?
Yes. If she met a homeless guy in New York City and took him home and killed him, we would never know. She was using every and all means of disposal.
But you definitely believe there are other victims out there.
Yes.
As for the question if Sheila LaBarre has more victims, the lead prosecutor in the case says that was always a concern. That's because during the investigation, several people came forward to say they knew other men who had stayed at the house. Officers also found hundreds of hours of audio cassettes of her speaking to men on chat lines.